Arfield, 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield, he's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Boxing quickly, finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that!
On it by Paul Pantella, off for a hat-trick,
He's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day!
and Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson, and he go on the outside, comes inside, comes up a shot. Oh, the goal!
Manuel Benson once more! That is top class!
Burnley have done it. Fantastic. The Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello and welcome along to the latest instalment of the TurfCast podcast. Full-time show with me, Joel Redman, after it happens again. Lightning has struck twice for us after we concede a late penalty against one of the big six. It's big six now, not top six, because United are awful. Obviously, Liverpool aren't, so they can still be included in the top six, but United can't. But against one of the big six, a late penalty. Not as controversial, this one, to be fair. I'm sure we'll get onto the incident in a bit, but it still doesn't sting any less to see that ball hit the back of the net in the 95th minute after playing so well for the first 93 minutes or whatever it was until the ball actually struck Hannibal's hand. But as you can see, I'm joined by Nathan and I'm joined by Chris. How are we doing, lads?
All good, mate.
Thanks, lad.
Happy days, happy days. The comments have already started coming in. Oliver Riggs says, cue the Joe is late lot. Even Jordan Bushworth is diving on it. I'm very early to this, but I still know Joe was late. And even Jimmy Paddy, he's not even a Burnley fan. It's been extended to the Sunderland fans as well. He says, Joe is so late, another international break is about to happen. I'll take it this time. The lads will make you aware. Yeah. It was my fault this time. I was having internet issues. I had to go and restart the router and everything. So I do apologise for that one. When I am late, I'll take it on the chin, everybody. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into the actual game because it's going to sting no matter what. So let's rip that plaster off and let's get into it. I'll start with you, Chris, seeing as you had, are always quite good with things like this and always quite good value, as Nathan is as well, to be fair. But obviously these are the stats on your screen now. Not great reading for Burnley. 3 shots to their 27, 19% possession, 1 corner to their 13. That fouls graphic looks a little bit off. It's 9 each, so that should be in the middle. And again, 3 offsides for us and 1 for them. But one thing I do like the look of that is there's Hartman with the most interceptions because it's literally the only positive thing on there for us. But what were your thoughts on the game, please, mate?
I think when you look at that, you'd probably say, how is it only 1-0? We've been really lucky to get out of there just 1-0, and you'd say, we'll take that and move on. But, that doesn't tell the story of the game at all. I know Liverpool fans will have you believe we're anti-football and it should have been 5 and 6-0. But I think if we're being honest, we should have had a point and we were good value for a point. So I honestly think if we'd have come away with a 0-0, not one single person could have said we didn't deserve it because we did. It feels weird to say it, and I'm usually the first to sort of I probably hate losing as much as any of our fans do. I'm a bad loser, but I thought we were actually excellent yesterday. The shape off the ball was great. I actually don't think that Dubravka did anything other than that one save from Szoboszlai from distance that I can remember where he thought, right, yeah, that was a good save. There
were one quite late on, just before the penalty wasn't there, but it weren't.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's right at him. But I just don't. I don't remember Liverpool creating anything clear cut where he thought, he should have scored that. like, not that I can remember anyway. And that's incredible considering this is a team who've like put 4 past Bournemouth. They put 3 away at Newcastle. So like, no, they've spent £500 million or whatever they've spent on that team. I thought we were excellent. And weirdly, I actually feel more confident about staying up now than I probably did at 2:00 yesterday. I think I remember texting my brother yesterday. I was like, this is going to be 3 or 4-0, isn't it? And it just wasn't. I can't sit here and say we went toe-to-toe to him, but realistically, what did anyone expect? Like, we've tried that, and look how it worked out. So, like, Parker's been pragmatic. He set us up perfectly. And I do genuinely believe, and like, I think we all laughed at Andrew, or certainly me and you did, when he said we'd be one of the big 6. I genuinely actually think we might. Like, if we set up like that against all the big 6 this season, I do genuinely believe we could probably beat one of them. On another day yesterday, we won on the counters. It perhaps goes a different way, and we could have been even like leading that game at one point. But yeah, I think the result doesn't really tell the full story of the game from our point of view. I wouldn't say. I think it was, it certainly hurt, that one.
Yeah, definitely hurt, especially to lose it in the way we did after playing so well. Just quickly go through some of the comments before I get Nathan's thoughts. Jordan Rushworth says, we're going to lose lots of games this season. That's the reality of where we are. But if we give our all like that against Liverpool, we can't complain. Play like that every week, and then it cuts off. I think you were meant to say some more, to be fair, Jordan. Evening Clarets says, Dom, another point dropped. I feel gutted still. Sorry, Key Stage 1 reading there from me. Bob Devine says, both players and the fans fought for a point yesterday, and that's why we all feel so dejected after that result. We play like that for the rest of the season, and we stay up, players and fans as well. I mean, Chris has just mentioned that, but the more I've watched us, the more I do think we have a chance of staying up, even despite yesterday. And it was the same against United as well. Jamie Brown said, evening, Clarets. Let's not be too downcast. Could be worse. Could be a Blades fan. Well, they have just got Wilder back, haven't they? So they might be starting to feel a little bit happy about life again. Andrew Turmo says, superb performance by team. So expected nothing less from you, Jordan, Nathan, and Chris. Evening Clarets says Claret 20. Sorry, evening says Claret 22. Brilliant performance from Burnley yesterday. Scott O'Sullivan says, evening all. We're staying up. Jordan Rushworth says, Forest play a high line under Postecoglou. So we're really playing into our hands next weekend. Fingers crossed, to be fair. I nearly read that out as well, Jordan, to be fair. Tony Williams says, felt that every game and it's going to be one boring season. So there's people who disagree with it, but Tony likes a disagreement, to be fair, just from some of his comments recently. From South Africa says, Karebo, apologies if I butchered that. And then in playing says, feel more confident of staying up under Parker than Company. Nathan, your thoughts? I mean, to be fair to Company, it wasn't the most entertaining game from a Burnley perspective, but I look at that and I don't necessarily think it's boring. I just think we're trying to do a job. The plan was obviously to hit them on the counter, soak up the pressure. You could see where the counters nearly came to fruition, but we just didn't really have the quality, did we, when we were getting into them final thirds, and we didn't get into the final thirds enough. But when we did get in there, there was just like a lazy pass every now and then, or it just didn't quite come to like a clear cut chance, did it?
No, but like I say, we're clutchy. This is what we're talking about. We just played arguably the best team in Europe. Certainly for me, the best team in the Premier League, and we've absolutely done a job on them. But we've completely rattled them. We've reduced them to getting a next 3rd-minute penalty, and then him slotting it in the last kick of the game. I think the next kick after that, I think they just pump it along to Joe Worrell, and then that's it. That's the end of the game. Like, what we've done on Saturday won't be achieved by any of the other teams down there against Liverpool. How we've defended against Liverpool there is exceptional. I do think, I'll caveat by saying I do think Liverpool were sort of lackluster. I think they're a bit toothless. I thought they did pass it around too much. They kept doing that horseshoe for sort of long periods of the game, and the Latin attacking intent just never was there. But then they would just switch it on all of a sudden and bang, find themselves at the 6-yard box, and you're like, how have they got there and stuff. But like Chris has said, it's just so surprising that we're sat here like being so deflated and gutted that we've just lost 1-0 to Liverpool when we were such good value for that point. Like all this, and like I think you've tweeted about it, or someone's tweeted about it, Joe, saying like, we're doing something right when every account were just like rattled by Burnley not belonging here in the Premier League and boring Burnley. And I'm like, it feels like home again. You know, it feels right.
Yeah.
Instead of getting plaudits for being battered 5-0, but playing the right way, we're actually getting lambasted for sitting in and actually fighting for our point that we deserve. And, you know, anyone predicted Burnley 0, Liverpool 0 at the beginning of the game would have probably been on for quite a decent chunk of cash if they'd have put a bet on. So to be sat here as Burnley fans sitting here going, we would value for money for that point, and not getting it, it's still quite surprising. And like you said, ended that, Chris, I think, like, weirdly enough, I feel more confident after Sunday for the rest of the season than I did before that game. It's such a really weird sort of position to be in. It's like, I think I said it I posted about it, saying I'm devastated about the result, but like delighted with the performance. Like, it's such a weird feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think there was a comment earlier from Jimmy, who, as I said, he is a Sunderland fan, so he can look at this as a neutral. And he says, Burnley have not been bad in any game, really, and already beaten a team that will be around them at the end of the season. So it's positive signs. Leeds, Wolves, and West Ham are going down, he thinks. I wish I was as confident. I do think we have far more of a chance now than what I gave us at the start of the season. And I've seen how poor West Ham look. I've seen how poor Wolves look. Leeds' poor end to the transfer window, I think, could screw them over. Sorry, Jimmy, I still think Sunderland have got a few tough games coming up. You've had quite an easier start. There's no easy games in the Prem, to be fair. I fully admit that. Brentford, I still don't think that they're not in many conversations yet, but I really don't rate Keith Andrews at all. So there's a lot more teams in and around us that I think we can stay above. And to be fair, Leeds, Wolves, and West Ham are the three that I'm looking at. I'm thinking that these guys could be the ones that finish below us. Ben Head says, just knew when we went down to 10 men that they were going to nick it somehow. I know what you mean there, Ben, because I did feel the same when we went down to 10 men. But again, like, we reduced them to absolutely nothing, even with 10 men. Like, we were still defending very, very well. We were still blocking the shots. If it wasn't for the penalty, which was just ridiculously unfortunate / naive at the same time from Hannibal, then they wouldn't have done it. And we obviously will get into the Hannibal incident and the penalty incident in a bit. But as I mentioned earlier, Nathan, I'll come to you first on this one, because I went to Chris first on the last one. I mentioned earlier that our plan was to soak up the pressure and hit them on the counters. And this is the attacking thirds graphic. Now, obviously, there's not many attacks that we had, but this is Burnley's attacking third, so how we attacked. And if you look, the interesting thing about this is on the left-hand side is just so much higher than anywhere else on the pitch. I think that goes to show how good Hartman's settling into life at Burnley, doesn't it? A lot of the attacks are coming from his side. He looks a very good fullback. He looks very fast. He gets forward well, and he defends very well as well. Excuse me. Like I've said a few times, he reminds me of Markson, but somebody always jumps in at that point and says, well, Markson couldn't really defend, but I think that's a bit harsh about Markson. But it is interesting, isn't it, to see how we set up, to see the plan to hit them on the counter. And then when you look at that graphic there, to see how much of our counters came from the left-hand side.
Yeah, it were. He was very good on Sunday. You can see why we bought him after that performance. You know, he's willing to go toe to toe. You know, I thought him. You know, in defensive side, I thought Steve. Them two did a good job, sort of working together on that side. But going forward, I thought Foster did well coming across onto that side. And he almost played like a left winger at most of the game, just to sort of release that pressure, and it allowed Hartman to then get up the pitch a little bit more. And it just, like I said, the chances were so few and far between for us. And did we ever look like deathly threatening? No, but you know, we got up the pitch quite a good few times. It was just, you know, you're going against them. You know, Virgil van Dijk's like 10 yards ahead of everybody all the time, so it was always going to be a difficult chance. But I thought Hartman did really, really well, and that left hand side. And like I say, I think Foster linked up well with Hartman when he came across as sort of that, like I say, that pressure release valve where he sort of got the ball down and ratted around a little bit, and yeah, it was good. Like I say, it was more about the defending, I think, wasn't it, yesterday? And like I say, we've pretty much covered all our attacking intent. But a couple of chances we do have, it's like another day, like, does the ball roll a little, you know, roll in our favour a little bit more? No, there was a chance where it just threaded through to Chowner, and he just sort of couldn't quite get his legs sorted to run onto it. And, you know, another day, does he get on the end of that? And as a chat, I don't know. It was just, just a really positive performance, that, especially from Hartman. I thought he was one of the standouts, but we'll probably get to individual performances later, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. Chris, there's a comment here from Sean Rubinio. He says, I agree about the performance yesterday. That sled, you can't legislate for the last two games where two individual mistakes have cost us. Hannibal's yesterday was criminal. It's an absolute stonewall penalty. Just look at Hartman's reaction. Again, we'll discuss the penalty literally in a second. I've got the image ready and we will go into that. But I've mentioned Sean's comment here and brought it on screen because I did put a post up sort of like saying how proud I was of the performance and that sort of stuff. And a lot of the responses were saying like, yeah, but it's two individual errors, just like Sean says here, that is costing us. Now, I know we weren't as good as what we played yesterday the last time we were in the Premier League, especially defensively, but what was costing us every single time in the Premier League? The naivety in Vincent's tactics, but how many times did we get done by our own individual errors, like losing the ball in midfield at 0-0 and then the team countering? And again, it's a similar thing now. Like I did feel quietly confident quite early on in the season last time, like I'm starting to now, but individual errors again are creeping in, aren't they? And if they carry on all season, then it's only one outcome.
Yeah, it is a problem. Like you said, that was probably the undoing we had last time. I don't want to say I can make allowances for Anthony's last week or whenever it was, 2 weeks ago. But I think when you've been at Old Trafford, you've been like, you run ragged for 90 minutes, like tired minds make tired decisions. And that's when you kind of like, that was a tired decision. His man's run off him. He has to tug at his shirt. And like, you can see why it's given. I still don't think it was a penalty, but that's another discussion. Like I can see why it was given.
We've had that one, mate.
Yeah. The thing with the one yesterday, though, I just think that's just like that's not a tired decision. That's just like complete. I don't want to crucify him, but like because we've been here before with Hannibal and me, but like it's just stupidity. Like
Bob's watching.
It's just I don't know. I've got to be on my best behaviour now. Yeah, that was just stupidity yesterday. Like as a manager, I don't think you can even legislate for that. Like to me, that yesterday's worse than like Aaron Ramsey losing the ball at Newcastle. Like them kind of incidents. I think that's worse than anything we give away under company. Like for me, maybe other than the Muric one under his foot. But yeah, listen, if it happens all season, it's going to be a problem. But I don't think it will. Like I'm not concerned just yet. No. But especially the caliber of the opposition. But, these things, sometimes they don't just happen in twos. Sometimes it can be a recurring thing, and others it's just a complete one-off. It's just something that you'll kind of like notice throughout the season. I'm not concerned about it yet, but if it carries on, then it will become obviously a problem. I don't want to talk too much about penalties. I'm going to ask about it at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring this comment up on screen here. So we'll discuss Parker's comments because I think it's a good comment from David. He says, do we not think Parker's comments on Hannibal were a touch naive? Hands behind back for defenders has been standard for a while. Just to remind you all, the comments from Scott Parker on the penalty incident was, I don't put it down as a Hannibal mistake. The ball comes from 3 yards away at a ridiculous speed. His arm's obviously out. Maybe it is a penalty. And yeah, obviously we've got the image here. So as you can see, the Liverpool player is right there. He's the one who's just hit the ball. So he is very, very close to him. However, if he just stands there with his hands behind his back, like as David says, you see players doing quite a lot these days and have done for a while. Like, why is he turned? The thing that annoys me with this is I do feel like it's slightly unlucky with Hannibal. I know, Chris, you're ready to crucify him, but I do think it's unlucky. I completely agree. He should not be turning his back, though. And that's where the justification, that's easy for me to say. The crucifying justification will probably come into it because he shouldn't be turning his back. He shouldn't do that. He should just stand there, arms behind his back, let the ball hit him or let the ball go past him. And Steve or Kyle or Martin Dubravka would have mopped it up like they have done for the other 93 minutes. So I'll stick with you, Chris, on this one. I mean, Jimmy says there, the poor lad has arms. He does. But at the time when I watched it live, because I sit at the other end of the pitch to this, I thought he jumped. And I mentioned that quite a lot in my fan reaction. I thought he jumped. So I did feel a little bit sorry for him. Because when you jump, you naturally bring your arms into the air, don't you? I know that now in football you can't do that, but you do naturally do it. But he's not even jumping. He's just turned away. And it's one of them, and I said this on the fan reaction, 15 years ago, this isn't a penalty because it's ball to hand. But ball to hand just doesn't exist anymore, does it? So in the modern game, it is a penalty. You can see that he's just inside the area as well. If you look where his feet is, I presume his arm's in line with his feet. So I presume it is inside the box. So I'll be honest with you, no complaints from me. I do think it's a penalty. I think it's naive from Hannibal, but I also think it's quite unlucky. Chris, I'll come to you first on this one because you do seem eager to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say that you've not already said. Like, it's just schoolboy stuff. Like, we're in the Premier League. Like, if a young lad did that on a Saturday league field, he's 7, I could probably legislate for it, but he's a Premier League footballer. Like, you front it up, you stand there with your hands behind your back. If it hits you in the face, it hits you in the face, and you get on with it. Like, we're all like, you're in it for the cause. Like, you paid handsomely. Like, if it knocks your teeth out, you get them replaced. Don't worry. So it's only a football. It's like, to me, he's just got to stand there and front it and take it. And like you said, if the ball gets bent round it, we dealt with crosses all afternoon. It wasn't a problem. Liverpool have got no real aerial threat in the box, and I think we probably would comfortably have dealt with it. It's just stupidity to turn your back. Like, I honestly don't think there's any explanation anyone can make that will justify what he's done. But, he's a young lad playing in the Premier League. Like, we can't just, he says after just rinsing him, like, but there's no point crucifying him. Like, he's a young lad. Like, hopefully he'll learn from that and he won't do it again. He learned from the red card. I don't think he's been sent off again since. So, you just have to hope he's learned from it. As for Parker's never going to come out and throw him under the bus. So I wasn't.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it's naive, to be fair. He's going to protect his player, 100%.
Yeah, I think he's just protecting him. I think he knows it's a penalty. Hannibal knew it was a penalty straight away, and he put his hands on his head.
Yeah,
I think Nathan said Hartman.
They all did. Yeah,
Hartman put his hands on his head or something. So everyone knew it was a penalty. Listen, I think it was a penalty, but it took Michael Oliver literally a millisecond to put his whistle in his mouth and give it. He was itching to give them something all game. There's a couple of I don't know if we're going to talk about decisions, but there was 2 big ones I thought that went against us that cost us a little bit. That wasn't one of them, but he could not wait to give that.
Yeah, I thought the officials were poor, but I thought they got the big decisions right, or the 2 main big decisions, should I say. I think they got them right. I do think this is a penalty. We'll get onto the Les sending off as well in a little bit, although I haven't created an image for that yet, but we'll try and get one. Just quickly read the comments about the incident before I get to Nathan. Andrew Turmo says, Hannibal jumped round to present his back to the shot. No intention to handle. It's extremely unfortunate that the speed of the ball made contact with his arms. Jim S says, poor lad has arms. David says it's inexcusable for me. Stand outside the area, arms by your side. He throws his arms up wide, taking in the face. Exactly what Chris has just said, to be fair. Jamie Brown says, yes, it was a pen, but the speed at which again, something Chris has just literally said, but at the speed at which Michael Oliver blows and points to the spot is mind-blowing. You're talking milliseconds. He was itching to give it. I mean, to be fair, it's weird saying he was itching to give it, but I do feel like he has got the decision right, if I'm honest with you. Lee Greenwood says it's as daft as pulling a shirt going into the box. Clarets 22 says, yeah, the ball might have still been in the air when he blew the whistle. Probably wouldn't surprise me, mate. Andrew Turmo says, Hannibal did jump to pirouette 180 degrees. That shot hit him when he's already landed. Fair enough. He's jumped too early then, I need to be fair if that's the case. Lee Greenwood says, I couldn't see it hit his arm from the Jimmy Matt, but I saw his expression and knew it was going to be a pen. To be fair, I must sit in a different part of the Jimmy Matt than me, because I knew, I literally shouted, oh no, because I knew he were going to give it. And I knew it was a penalty. In the modern game, it's a modern handball. It's a modern penalty. Like I said, it's not a penalty 20 years ago, but unfortunately for us at the weekend, it is now. Nathan, anything you want to add to that?
Not really. No, everything's been said about Hannibal. I think he knows. I think the lad's reaction at the final whistle was telling, because I tried my best to watch as much as I can, and I didn't actually see anyone going over to Hannibal. He clearly looked upset. He had his head in his hands, his shirt over his face, and he was just walking to the tunnel on his own. And I saw none of our players were even entertaining him. So he knows that he's in doghouse. You know what I mean? He knows he's going to get barrels off everyone. I know they'll give it to him, but then I know today they'll probably have their arm around him and just getting him going.
Yeah, 100%.
But the lad knows he's made an absolute prat of himself. He knows that, like Chris has said, if Stan Mallet lad, he's only that 3.5. Like, if I saw him jumping and turning his back to the ball, it's like, no, face the ball. Like, watch what you're doing. It's such basic stuff, and to give away such a silly penalty when we'd worked so hard, it was just so frustrating, And if that's what it takes for Liverpool to beat us on the day, then I'll take it, really. But like I say, Hannibal knows what he's done. He's soon as like I said, as soon as Michael Oliver, I think your whistle was already in his mouth before he even hit his hand. He was that quick. Hannibal was head in his hands. He just knew straight away, and it just, and like what Chris, I think I tweeted it as well. Like we've kicked and headed everything into the sun. Yes, on Sunday, like not we were comfortable dealing with anything that came into our box. There was almost no need to even stop the cross. But it just felt like Hannibal were. I feel like he would just. It did feel like he was just itching to create some news about him. He were leaving a few late ones on people, and he was just eager to please. I think that's probably the kindest way of putting it. Was Hannibal? He was just very eager to put his stamp on the game and run around again. But like I say, for the red card, he'll learn.
What happened against Stoke last season?
But say he'll learn. He should learn. He should learn from his mistakes. Like I say the last mistake we saw was probably nearly what was it? Say 12 months ago, but quite a while
December
ago.
Last year, January, something like that.
It's quite a while ago. So hopefully he can learn from it, and I think he will. Like I say, it seemed like we've got a good group of lads that can dish it out, but can also put an arm around someone. And like the original comment about Parker, I wouldn't say it was a naive comment. I think he was just protecting his players, and he'd rather he just sensible. He's such a diplomat, and Parker. He knows what to say and when to say it, and he takes the attention off Hannibal and just throws it onto his own opinion, which is a good sort of deflection tactic from modern day politicians. So yeah, no complaints from me from Parker's side of it, but like I say, Hannibal knows. He knows.
Yeah, Kieran Phillips, always a pleasure to have you on the stream, mate. He says, never a penny in the month for Sundays, was never any intention. The Premier League is corrupt as FUCK. We'll leave that one there, mate. I don't understand how it's like you said, Kit. 15 years ago, it's not handball, Kieran, mate. But unfortunately for us, it is now. You don't have to have intentions anymore. It's stupid from Hannibal. Some comments here. Jimmy says, did Hannibal play well despite the pen? I think Chris and Nathan are both kind. I don't think he did play that well. I like Hannibal, and I do want to see more of him. I know Chris isn't the biggest fan in the world, but it's for me. I think he can offer something different. But I thought on Sunday he didn't really play that well. If I'm going to be honest with you. Speaking of players who I do like, who didn't play that well, was Les. I don't think he played that well. And obviously, quite a big incident with Les. Obviously, already been booked, so this is a second yellow card. Chris, I'll come to you first on this one, because you said there was a couple of other big decisions that you didn't think went our way. I presume this is one of them. Les obviously getting sent off. Did change the game in a way, because obviously we went down to 10 men. But I didn't feel like we ended up looking like a team with 10 men. We were still defending very, very well. We were still playing very well. I still didn't feel like we're in much danger of conceding. And then obviously we do because of the silly penalty. But yeah, I mean, I hate using screenshots for these incidents because it's hard to show an actual challenge, but the ball's gone. He doesn't get a touch on the ball. I did think at first in real time that he won the ball from the Jimmy Mack. Again, it's at the other end of the pitch, as you'll all know. But when I watch it back, the Liverpool player gets there before him. He touches it away, and then Les comes in. So for me, I don't have any issues with this either. Obviously, Jamie's just said there he doesn't think it's a second yellow. I think it's silly to be diving in like that when you're on a yellow card already. Me personally, my issues came, as some people said in the comments earlier on, and Lee Greenwood literally just says it there, he should have taken Les off instead of Cullen. I completely agree with that. That's where the issue is for me. I think Parker got this one wrong. I think Parker should have took Les off not long after he got the second booking, because you're always in danger of getting a second yellow, as Arne Slot took that Liverpool lad off, didn't he, in the first half when he was on that yellow card, made a big decision, and that's something that I felt we should have done. Chris, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on this? Sorry, go on, Nathan. We'll come to Nathan first. Go on.
It looked to me that Cullen picked up a bit of like a sort of dead leg, bit of a knock to me.
I said that on Twitter, but I'm not sure if I don't know. You might be right, mate, but some people said they did see that.
His pace and energy just sort of dropped off completely. Like he went from being busy, all his pace and energy just went, and he sort of became pretty static in the middle. So it looked to me like he just picked up like a bit of a dead leg and just couldn't quite shake it off. That's what it looked like. So I don't think Parker would have. I think he would have took Les off if he could have done. I don't think you don't take your skipper off. You don't take your skipper off for a tactical change, do you? You know, it has to.
Yeah, maybe
something. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
No, it's all right. Mike says, I thought Les had a great game. And then Oliver says, I thought he had a good game too. Love the powerhouse role he was given, but should have come off at 70 minutes. I might be on my own on that one. I just felt like I don't know, like I said on the fan reaction, he's playing against some of the best midfielders in the Premier League, in the country, in the world. So if he did have a slightly poorer game, then I have no issues with that. I still really like him and want to see him starting in the next game. But as I've said a few times, it's going to be interesting to see where him and the new lad and Cullen all fit in. However, Nathan, I'll stick with you then. Thoughts on this then? Do you think it's a second yellow, or do you think the referee got it right?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's a second yellow. It's a tired tackle, isn't it? You know, he's been beaten by his man. You know, again, it's sort of the similar sort of theme that I was saying with Hannibal. He's like, doesn't need to make the challenge. He's got Ekdal coming across. He's got, you know, Walker coming across. He doesn't necessarily need to make the challenge when he does. It's just a tired last throw of the leg in it, and he's come from behind. It's just one of them. Anywhere else on the pitch, even if you've not been, but it's just a yellow card in it. That's just what gets given for them. And it's a boring answer, and there's not really much to debate. It's just that's what it's just a yellow card. And when you've already got a yellow for, you know, probably more of an orange than a yellow, it's probably an easy yellow to give in it. You know what I mean? It's one of them that I say it's that I don't think that yellow warranted the red, but I think the previous yellow was strong enough to take it over the second yellow threshold. If you know what I mean. I'm trying to, if I'm explaining it right in my own head, but I think it was just an easy decision for him. Yeah, there's not really many complaints from me, and like I said, I don't think many complaints from the fans as well, because I think he walked off to a standing ovation after getting a red card, didn't he, the lad? So
yeah, fair enough. It's yeah. I'll see what you mean about the first one. You know what? I haven't actually seen the first one back in real time, and I'm just going to literally contradict myself here, because some of the screenshots that I have seen do look a little nasty, and I have said I hate looking at screenshots and making my mind up on decisions on that. But it does look like on the first one. I'll just quickly see if I can bring it in. I'm not going to edit it to make it look nice. I'll just quickly bring the raw image in now that I've just very quickly took a screenshot of. But on that, it does look a little nasty. But I feel like he's won the ball, if I remember rightly, first on this one.
I think, yeah, he does win the ball, but like I say, they're not the rules anymore. Like, it's about forcing it and excessive force. Like, that looks horrendous, you know, but it's not as bad as
does.
That looks.
Screenshots count quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and it says everything that we live in a world of VAR.
Using a screenshot.
Yeah, but the VAR are itching to send anybody off, aren't they? They just can't wait to get involved. And they even looked at it and didn't send him off. They thought Oliver's decision on the pitch was the correct one. And I think when you watch the whole thing, like McAllister, his only intention is to plant his foot where Leslie's going to land, not to get the ball. You know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. McAllister's not interested in retaining the ball. He's just wanting to get his leg, and he actually lunges in with 2 feet. So like, he puts himself in danger there for me. Like, Leslie's coming, he's won the ball. He's probably obviously he's a little bit high where he's ended up, but like the point I was making with that one, the first yellow is like an orange. You know what I mean? It's like that's your booking, and that's your last one you're getting. You know, that's the last warning you get in. The next one, and I thought he did well to stay in control, really. And, you know, in hindsight, could we have took him off? Probably. You know, like I said, Liverpool took all their book players off, but they had like a ridiculous bench to pick from. It's, you know, I'm not saying we're small on numbers, but, you know, personnel in certain positions, it's like I say, it's easy in hindsight. You know, would I have probably swapped Leslie for like Louise to come on, maybe? But like I say, we don't know the situation with Cullen. You know, Cullen doesn't go off without a whimper, does he? And I don't think Parker takes your skipper off without tactical, you know, just for tactical reasons. But I'm interested to hear Chris' thoughts on this anyway. I know Chris likes a PL conspiracy.
Oh yeah, he does. Chris loves it. But however, even though we've just mentioned how bad that looks there on the screenshot, I've literally just found this while searching. I've just typed in Burnley red card on X, and this one came up as well. You can look at all these ones and look at screenshots and say it looks nasty. I've not even seen this incident, but I never at any point during that match thought Liverpool should have had a man sent off. But then I look at that screenshot, and in the modern world, if that one is, then that one could easily be seen as a screenshot. But anyway, Chris, we'll come to you on this one. The red card that Les actually did get sent off, or the second yellow, should I say. What were your thoughts on it, please, mate?
I'm going to disagree with Nathan. He's probably not surprised. Listen, he's lucky with the first one. Very, very, very lucky. Because I think another official on VAR, that's lucky. To me, against one of the big six, you're incredibly fortunate not to be sent off for that. Whether you win the ball or not, they're showing refs freeze frames on the screen. And when that's against Liverpool, as we found out against Man U, that's usually a red card. So he's incredibly lucky. And I think that's contributed to why he's then been sent off at half time as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In the second half, I think, because the ref will have seen that back at half time.
Yeah.
Or someone from Liverpool bench on an iPad would have been saying, hey, have you seen this, Michael? You've got this one wrong. And then it's in his head. Like, that's how it works, like in like professional football. The second one to me, and I'm not going to critique your screenshotting, Joe, but it's not the best angle to see it from. Because it's an angle from behind where the defender stood right in front of him. To me, and as I've said on here many times before, like there's a defender literally just off shot waiting to get that ball there.
Yeah, it's Hartman. I've just gone forward with the thing now, and it's Hartman. He just collects the ball.
To me, not every foul is a yellow card. It's a tired tackle. Yeah, he's running straight into bodies. He's not denied him like coming straight onto the back foot because he's lost the ball anyway. I just think it's a foul. And again, before Les had even got his arse off the floor, he got the 2 cards in his hand. Like, he just couldn't wait to send him off. And I'm not going to sit here and bang the, like, Premier League's corrupt. But, like, he could not wait to send him off. And the other decision that I was on about earlier, and this to me, the one I'm going to talk about now was worse than this. About 92 minutes, Josh Laurent, like, he was excellent yesterday, by the way. He's like battled his nuts off to win us a throw in front, like in that far corner in front of the Bob Lord, and it's clear as day it's our throw.
Yeah,
and he couldn't wait to give it Liverpool. He's just like, 50. Yeah. He thought it was 50-50. He's on, give it Liverpool. Ball's back on, and then a minute later, like they've got a penalty, and you're like, if we'd have got that throw in, it's the right decision, and we could have killed 30, 60 seconds, and we'd probably have seen the game out. But he did any 50-50 decision, they just give in favour of the big six, like. It's like at this point to me, it's conscious bias towards the big six. Like it was, obviously someone's late to the party there on about the handball, but the throw-in, honestly, like, and I sound like an Arsenal fan probably, like moaning about throw-ins. Like I'll be on about the cut of the grass next, but a throw-in for Burnley, like in the far corner, as far away from goal pretty much as you can be against Liverpool with 2 minutes left is massive. And when you get that wrong, we're already down to 10, don't forget. Laurent's on his knees on the floor because he knows he's got it wrong. And he just throws the ball in. And then we're defending with 8 plus the keeper. And you're like, he just couldn't wait for him to get it back on.
That throw-in, I would right above that throw-in.
I can stomach the red card. Like, I can see why he's given it. Do I think it's a red card? Probably not. But I can see exactly why he's given it. And in another world, I probably wouldn't have any complaints. But the throw-in was awful. Like, and I'm not saying that's the reason why we lost. We all know it was because of the penalty, but that decision was huge. The decision was massive. That was the first thing I said to my brother after the game. Like, he went and I texted him when he came. I was like, that throw-in's cost us big time. And I know it's only a throw-in, but it was a massive decision in the scheme of that game, and he got it wrong.
Unfortunately, it's one of them things. I did think it was a Burnley throw-in at the time, but it's one of them things that they just don't show on highlights packages. So I've not seen it.
You probably get it on, like, if I watch the full rerun on Clarets Plus or something like that, it will probably be on there, but I can't say I've got the time to sit and do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit through that. Although you could easily skip to the 93rd minute.
Yeah. I was right on top of it, me, and looking right down, and before anyone had even decided, even the players had decided who wanted it more, the lines were just shouting red ball, red ball. Right? You could hear him say it, and it was just like how you got so convicted in your decision, like instantaneously, when it was clearly it bounced in and it went off. Laurent kicked it, and I can't remember who he kicked it against, but it like ricocheted twice back between them, and then came off a green sock and went out. Like,
and it was under the line.
Literally so obvious.
The line was
before it even touched the players, like Liverpool players, like sock, he was like red ball. Like you could tell he was shouting for it. Like it was just so. But like you said, like that moment, that little sort of turning point moment would have probably helped to send the game out because
I think
we throw it in the corner.
It just gets thrown into the corner. Foul. Yeah, of course it does. It's difficult. Like if we can get everyone onto the halfway line or whatever, just throw it down to the corner, probably win another throw, or whoever Walker probably would have took that throw, perhaps, or someone over that far side. He's experienced, like in he's been in these situations so many times, these massive games. He'd have killed 30 to 60 seconds. He'd probably have tied his laces, or he'd probably have added it on anyway till he scored. But we would have just killed that time. And sometimes it's not even just about time; it's just about killing momentum. When you're on the back foot for that long, you just need a minute to just reset and get up to halfway where Parker is, get some instructions on, and just reset, get back in some sort of shape. And then when your centre half's on the floor and the ball's back in play, you're up against it.
Yeah, what could have been, should I say? I do agree. I feel like the linesman and the ref, all the 50-50 things they got wrong, or a lot of them they got wrong because they couldn't wait. You said they're conscious bias. I do think there's bias involved with the Big Six. I've always said that, but I don't think it's conscious. I just think they just naturally give it to the Big Six because they're the bigger club and they're more well known. I think that's the way it is in these sort of decisions. But you both mentioned Laurent there, Josh Laurent, sorry. And I do want to talk about it because there were quite a few raised eyebrows at the start of the game. I'll come to you, Chris, first on this one, because obviously he was playing or three centre backs, back five, if you will.
Lost Joe.
The hamsters stopped going.
Go on then. Talk about Laurent then.
I'll start on Laurent. Yesterday, I was surprised that when he was in the team, I was very surprised personally. But he is one of Parker's go-to guys for games like that. He's Mr. Dependable, where he knows I can count upon him. You know what you're going to get from him, don't you? Which is just 90 minutes of blood and thunder. He'll put himself about, and sometimes you need that bit of physicality against the Big Six. I think because you've just got to you've got to find a different way to win, haven't you? You're never going to play. Say you play Hannibal or you play Florentino, the nice technical footballers, but they're probably not got that same physicality that he's got, the power in his running, and that's why he's there. I can't actually show you this. That only Joe's got it, but I sent it to him before. I think on the average position, his average position was actually he was playing right wing back, and I think certainly in the first half he made a lot of runs down the right wing. I don't know whether I've imagined that, but I'm pretty sure he made so many runs.
No, he did.
Down the right wing. And it was almost at times he was playing as though he should have been in midfield. And then when we were out of possession, just dropping in between Walker and Ekdal to just kind of make that back five up.
Yeah.
And it did work yesterday. I think you'd have to say, moving forward, he has probably earned a place in the team, I think, after yesterday. Or I think so. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I would. I think I tweeted about 6. I didn't even realise he was playing in a back three. I jokingly tweeted of some bloke squinting, I'm is that Joe? Is that Josh Laurent playing centre half? But he looked like one of our most physical. He has all the attributes to be, modern day centre half. There's Josh Laurent, and he looked. It was stroke of genius, I think, from Parker. To be honest with you, and he played very, very well. You know what I mean? There was no doubts in his performance. I thought he looked really good. He has the energy, he has the power, his physicality was there, and they were just an understanding. It looked they've obviously practiced that all week. They've obviously played that system all week, and it just worked. It was very surprising, really, really surprising from Laurent. But again, he's sort of become our modern day Graham Branch, and he's just such a good utility player, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to Laurent. I just think he's got that willingness, to do what needs to be done for the team, and he's obviously one of Parker's sort of generals, isn't he? So
I think for me, I've always critiqued probably his ability on the ball. I think which is probably in part down to the level of quality that some of the other players we've got have got on the ball. In terms of Cullen's fantastic on the ball, Big Les. I'm pretty sure Florentino will be when he's up to speed and we actually get to see more of him. Obviously, we don't know much about him yet. And I don't think Laurent's ever going to win any midfield honours for being the most technical player. But there's just something about it. I find when he plays, and certainly towards the end of last season, he played a little, maybe not towards the end, but it was probably coming towards the end.
Yeah.
And he was playing with Brownhill and Cullen, I think, in a spell where, and he was just, even though he wasn't really doing much, he was bringing the best out of people around him. And he's one of those, like, almost like, I don't want to compare him to Ashley Westwood almost, like, but we always seem to play better when Westwood played, like, going back years.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes when Laurent goes in the team, you feel like he brings the best out of other people around him. I don't think it's necessarily that he does anything spectacular, but sometimes I think it's just knowing that presence is there. Like, if you lose the ball or whatever, you know he's going to be hunting him down and, like, knocking him off it. Do you know what I mean? It's just got that. It's like a bit of aura he's got around him on the pitch. Like, he's strong as an ox. You do need that in the Prem from time to time.
Definitely,
Obviously, like I said before, I can't pull up the comments, but someone just said before, it was Jordan Rushworth, Laurent, in games against the big teams will be great. Don't think he can start in winnable games. So I probably agree with that. I think in games where you're going to dominate possession, I don't think he's probably that guy, because I don't think we'd play like the back five like we did yesterday. I think it would probably be your right winger tucking round to make the five in games where we're probably going to dominate and got more chance of winning. But I think in games like that, yesterday, City away coming up, he probably proved yesterday that he might be someone who does play in those games.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened there. It's the weather, I think. It's the weather. It's been awful tonight. It's too late. Keep talking when your internet goes down. It's Nathan and Chris, so I apologise to you two. Thank you for carrying it on. I'm not sure what you said. I presume you both said Laurent played well.
We were just slagging off your internet.
Fair enough. Yeah, BRSK, sort it out, lads. That'll serve me right for going for cheaper option. But Peter Wilkinson says Josh Ellis is a proper professional. I'm sure he knows his limitations, but he has a good mental strength and did excellent yesterday. I don't know how much you said, lads, but what would you do with Laurent going forward? Would you keep him in that position, or would you try something different?
We were just sort of going on to that, thinking about the City game. I know we're skipping a game. We're skipping a game out with that, but I don't think you play that. That three at the back against the Forest. I think we'd look to probably bring that back in for the City game, where you're not going to have the ball. I think it suits us not having the ball quite a lot. And if that was a bit of an audition for these big testing games, just to keep us in the games, I think Parker's really keen on that. You can tell that post match that he was saying that the lads are going to suffer. They're going to be up against it, and you need lads in there that are fighting from minute one with you.
Yeah.
And Josh Laurent is that. You can say that, and it's just like little things I noticed. Like he's always commenting on like fans' Twitter tweets, and like every time a lad posts, when a player's post on Instagram, like I always see Josh Laurent there, like putting a little love out up or something. You know what I mean? He's just he just seems like one of the lads that everyone sort of likes. So I think, and he's deserved. I think he's deserved that. Like I've been pretty flip flop with my opinions on him, throughout his time with us, but he's earned that performance yesterday. I think he's really shown the quality that he has got, not just like technical ability, but like his sort of game knowledge and his understanding and his ability to take instructions and put them on the pitch, and to just be asked to drop into a central three against arguably, at one point Liverpool had like 7 attackers on the pitch, and Josh Laurent's one of our 3 centre-halves. There's no way that was on any of our bingo cards at the start of the season. So, fair play to the lad.
Yeah, no, and I do think he did very well as well. Speaking of players who've done well and have done well since they've come in, it's an easy one to say this, and it's just I know a lot of people were not Burnley fans, but fans of other clubs. But Kyle Walker was superb again yesterday. I know we've already spoken about Hartman. I think Hartman's better at the minute going forward. Obviously, Kyle's the wrong side of 35, so that might be something to do with that. But I thought Kyle was fantastic again yesterday, Chris. There were so many times where he put his body on the line, slid in at the last second and prevented attacks. So I thought he was superb again. Yeah,
he was. And I think I seem to remember saying in the summer, like, we were all kind of surprised when we signed him. And it's easy to say when he plays for City, like, oh yeah, he's no good, Kyle Walker. But like when you see him come into a team who's down the bottom end, you kind of realise, oh yeah, he's actually quite good. I think he was probably perfect for Parker in the sense that he can play right back or he can slot into that right centre back, and we've just got, all of a sudden he kind of covers 2 positions. His experience is second to none. Like I said earlier, things like the throw-in, if you get that throw-in, you can guarantee he's killing a minute, just like with the experience. And like the argument about his pace, like I think he's still incredibly quick. Like I would like to race alongside him. People say his pace has gone. Like I don't agree with that personally.
No chance.
Well, like I said before, even if he's only got 75% of his pace left, he's still one of the fastest players on the pitch because he was rapid.
Yeah, he is. And I think to bring someone like that into the back line, it just gives that like experience to the rest of the lads. Because Ekdal's never played in the Premier League before. To any sort of like notable level anyway. Estev's like had half a season in the Prem, something like that. And Hartman's never played in the Prem. So aside from that, where's the experience coming from? Like it's coming from your 6-time winner, however many times he's won it. Like it's great. And I just think having that pace down the right as well, it just gives that winger a bit more freedom as well. Like in bigger games where you think, all right, I don't have to quite worry because he's got my back here. Because Walker or Bale is out on probably more than one occasion this season, his pace will bail us out of trouble. Like you can guarantee it, where we'll get done from a corner or something like that, and he'll just like blitz past someone. But yeah, I think he was great. Yes, I'd probably say that was his best game yesterday. I would say, but you could say that a lot. Of them,
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, great sign.
He was great again, and like that the whole experience thing keeps coming up and up, and like he's gonna have this like little well of like little knowledge of like. You know, you can tell the lads, you know, like say to Ekdal and Estev and all that, and just say like, yeah, lads, if you're playing against Sally, what you need to do is like nip him on his back or something. He proper winds. You know what I mean? He's played against all these players and he knows all the little quirks to get under players' skin that he can pass on. But I did notice one thing that I really enjoyed from Walker. I think one of the Anthony challenge actually, where we alleviated the pressure. And obviously there was nothing wrong with Anthony. As you've seen all that screenshot of Anthony's injury, and it's like the tiniest little scratch. But
yeah, I did see that.
The only person on the pitch was Kyle Walker, and he was screaming for the medical team to come on. Like, to say, like, come on, kill more time, like, slow the momentum down, like, you know, just using that game knowledge to just sort of guide, you know, he's guiding everybody through it. He was guiding the medical staff through it to say, like, no, get on the pitch, proper, kill the game dead, stone dead, reset everything, and we'll go again. And it's like little things like that, I would say that's what you pay your money for, but we've paid like peanuts for him. But it's so invaluable that you just don't, it carries you through big moments like that. And as the season goes on, like I think someone posted it, he said he looked like he'd settled in. The more he settles in, the more he's going to look like an increasingly important cog of this team. You know, he might not score a lot of goals or assist a lot, but he'll just look like, you know, he'll carry us through the season, I think.
Yeah, it's brought in for his experience, like we said, and he's shown it in abundance over the last few games at the start of the season. I am conscious of my god-awful internet, so before it happens again, I do want to start maybe wrapping up. I don't know why it's so bad tonight. It's never been this bad ever. I've had it for about a month and a half now. It's never been this bad. But anyway, moving on. Obviously, Big Les now misses the Forest game, I believe. So my thought process there is going to be that Florentino comes in and hopefully Cullen. If you know, some people, yourself, Nathan, said he might have picked up a knock, and that's why he was taken off. But it's going to be interesting to see how we set up against Forest, isn't it? I think it will be Florentino, Luis, and Cullen in the middle. What do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty straight swap. Like, I want to quickly talk about Luis because I thought he just looks the real deal for me. He came on and he got the most tackles in out of, you know, he's joint top with Leslie. You know, like he's coming straight away. Like Benfica fans called him the octopus. Like you can tell why he just reading the game was so, he just stuck his leg everywhere. And so I think it'll be a pretty straight swap. It'll be like for like in that midfield with that. I don't know whether that'll work against Forest. I don't know whether we need someone so defensive or maybe we can squeeze another attacker in there. Maybe that's where we may see Broja come in. I don't know, but I'm not as concerned about losing Les as I was before seeing Luis on the pitch. I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, do you think he just slots straight in there like Nathan? I think that's a pretty obvious way to look at it, isn't it? Yeah,
I agree. I think it'll just be like for like, and that one will be anyway. I think he probably will alter things a little bit. Certainly in terms of the setup, I don't think we'll set up the same as we did yesterday. But I think
definitely not. No,
personnel will just be like for like. I don't think we're not exactly blessed with that many options of anyone to come in that position, really, to be honest. I don't think Hannibal's disciplined enough. I can't see Laurent playing there in a game where we're probably going to have a bit of the ball, or certainly more than we did yesterday. So I would imagine it'll just be like for like.
Yeah.
He may deploy that Walker slotting into the midfield role, like Walker started doing at the back end of his time at City. Just with how high, I think Postecoglou will have Forest. They were pretty high against Arsenal, weren't they? So if they're going to go that high against Arsenal, then they're going to pretty much be sat on our 18-yard box, thinking, so... it'd be an interesting game against Forest, won't it? It'll be curious. I'm curious about it.
Looking forward to it. I think it's one of the ones where, not necessarily a slight on Forest's, but one of the ones where we've got to be looking at, getting some points on the board, especially with Europe coming up for them and things like that. So hopefully they'll have half an eye on that. Comment here from Johnny Hickman, who says, no denying Burnley really defended well, but as a neutral, you won't stay in the Premier League playing like that at home. If that was Anfield, it's more understandable, but Burnley offered nothing going forward. But I agree that we didn't offer much going forward, mate. I think it's a bit unfair to say if it was Anfield, it's more understandable. I think when you're playing against the big six, it doesn't matter whether you're at home or whether you're away these days. They're just a force. Yeah. We didn't set up like that against Sunderland. I can bet you £1 million we won't set up like that against Forest as well. So we don't play like that at home, just in that game. Andrew says, Joe, use our subs to upgrade your Wi-Fi provider. Stop pissing it away down the pub. Yeah, I'll do just that, mate. If you do want to become a member and upgrade my internet for me, then just click the join button down below. I'll put a link out as well later if somebody wants it. But don't worry, I'll be ringing BRSK tomorrow because this has been awful. Right, let's move on then. Man of the match. And I have an idea if I want to give it to him. We've already spoken about him at the start of the show, but I'm going to wait until, because I normally go first, so I'm going to wait and go last this time. I will come to you, Chris, first on this one. Who was your man of the match, please, mate?
I think there was a few candidates, but I think to come in to the side in a game of that magnitude, play essentially out of position and perform to the level he did and not look out of place, I would probably go Laurent. Yeah, I think perhaps just him. I thought he had a good game and he didn't look out of place in a back five that he's probably never played in. But yeah, a lot of mentions for Hartman. I do think if I had to pick a top three, I'd probably go Laurent, Hartman, Walker. You could probably pick anyone, to be honest. Like Steve had a good game. I think you could pick any of the 11. I'm just going with Laurent on the sense that we've played such a big team. He's been thrust in at the deep end essentially, and he didn't look out of place. I'll give it him on that basis. But really, you could have picked any one of the 11.
Yep, fair enough. Nathan?
Yeah, I think you could probably give it to anyone on the pitch. I'll give a mention to Foster because we've not even spoken. I'm not going to give him man of the match, but I thought he was brilliant. I thought his held up play was good. He did what he could have,
he works hard,
really,
Foster,
but he tracked back really well and made
the criticism he gets.
Good,
he does work hard, and
he does. He does. Yeah,
you're man of the match.
He can tell he wants to be here and he wants to play, which is all you can ask for. Man of the match is Hartman. I'm going to give it Hartman. I thought he's with nullified Salah, really, ultimately. So yeah, you got to give it to Hartman.
Yep, fair enough. Simon Harvey says Hartman. Ashley Alderson says Hartman. Muzz Trucking says everyone. Lee Greenwell says Steve. He was immense. He wasn't. I think Steve gets overlooked, to be fair, because we just expect him to be immense every single week, and he is immense every single week. So when he plays immensely, again, everyone's like, well, that's just Steve. So he doesn't really get the plaudits that I feel like he deserves. But everyone loves him, and that's because he's absolutely class. Andy Plain says Esteve. Oliver Bridge says Dubravka, interestingly. To be fair, he did make a couple of good saves, but it's not. They only had 4 shots on target. And to say they had 27 shots, that's not great. But that's because we limited them to the long-range efforts. Jordan Rushwood says Cullen was incredible for being subbed off, in my opinion. And Claret 22 says Walker. I'm going to agree with Nathan. For me, it's Hartman. That's the player I wanted to go with. Obviously, I mentioned it at the start of the show when I showed this graphic. And how all the attacks seem to come from our left-hand side. Jimmy's taking the piss. He says Hannibal. I can block you, Jimmy. Don't you worry, mate. I can't block you. But just going back to Laurent for me, says Tom. So he agrees with Chris. Just before we do wrap it up, Jimmy has said this comment in there, so it's a nice little sort of like way to go full circle on this one. I'll come to you first on this, Chris. After 4 games, where is it clear that Burnley need to improve the team? I think for me, it's just scoring goals, isn't it? Like, we've not scored enough goals yet. I know we've played some tough teams and stuff, and we did manage to get 2 against Sunderland, which Jimmy will remember. I remember very well. But we've not seemed to be scoring enough at the minute. I think if we're going to improve somewhere, and it's been an issue for a few seasons, it's not just this season, is it? We just need to put the ball in the back of the net more.
Yeah, I think it's just creating and scoring chances. I think across the pitch, generally, certainly defensively, there's nothing really that you could say, oh, we need to do that. I think we should probably score more goals. Well, we have scored more goals than we've actually got in terms of, like, we put the ball in the back of the net at Old Trafford that got disallowed and the Sunderland one. So we have scored six
it's a
goals.
good point from you and Jordan, that, to be fair.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I think it's just creating chances. I still think sometimes we get the ball out. I think we're heavily reliant on Anthony as well. Down that left-hand side, a lot of the play comes through him. If we had someone on the right who could offer the same kind of like work rate that he does, and also like a bit of end products, which hopefully Chowner will do, I think that would help. But yeah, scoring goals is the obvious one.
Yeah, Nathan?
Yeah, not playing the best teams back to back in the country.
That would help, wouldn't it?
Like we've had a pretty, the one game we needed to win, we won comfortably. So I don't think there's anything much different that we need to do. We've been in every game pretty competitively. So for me, it's like more of the same. Just be a little bit more, just be a little bit more clinical. Can you put that comment up from that weirdo there? Streams off.
Which one? All 3 of them, because they're all
3 of them.
Lily Belland. I'll block someone already tonight. Hey, look, listen. I don't know why my internet is so shit.
Me and Chris carried this stream tonight.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I think retaining the ball is good enough, to be fair, Jimmy. But yeah, I agree. My internet is awful. But I'll be straight on the phone to BRKS, whatever they're called, tomorrow. You know what, mate? There you go, off you fuck. Right. Well, we'll wrap it up there, though. We will wrap it up there. Unless there's anything else that you two, something that you want to talk about that we haven't really mentioned yet. Cheers, Jamie. Thank you.
I thought the atmosphere. The atmosphere was good.
Yeah.
I think it was a big improvement. I don't know whether that was. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed that a bit more. Like I felt Sunderland. It felt a little bit flat for too many long periods, but I felt like Sunday was good. It was a good atmosphere. So, and I enjoyed my Hafner's pie. First one I had this season, immaculate.
Yeah, they are good. The Hafner's pies. The atmosphere was good. I know it doesn't affect me much, but I've seen all these pictures and stuff of people struggling to get out of the turf and stuff. It doesn't affect me because I come straight out the left-hand side of the Jimmy Mac as you're looking at it from the Jimmy Mac. So if you're looking at elsewhere, the right-hand side. So it doesn't affect me. I'm fine. So that's got to be the same guy, by the way. It must have a few accounts. That's an easy one to do. But yeah, I saw a few people moaning about that, but it doesn't affect me. But that's the only thing that I think people can whinge about after a good performance.
No.
Anything else that you want to mention, Chris, before we wrap it up?
Well, I must admit I wasn't there yesterday, so I don't know about the bottleneck coming out, and I don't know about the atmosphere. Yeah.
Fair enough. Florentino, yeah. Quickly talk about. I thought we have talked about him a little bit. Chris, you did say you could tell why people call him the octopus, but he did play quite well, didn't he, when he came on?
Yeah, I think he kind of lived up to what we've been told we should expect from him. Obviously, it's difficult because no one has ever. Oh my God, no one's ever seen him play.
What a weird guy.
So we didn't really.
Not you, Chris. Sorry.
We're just kind of going off what we've been told to expect, and I think he was every bit of that in terms of how he's winning the ball back, getting around the pitch. So yeah, promising signs, I would say.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, if we will wrap it up there before we get more weirdos, which I'm sure the amount of time, the length of time it takes me to wrap up, I'm sure we'll see a few more. So if you see anything in the comments that's ridiculously ridiculous, then just ignore it. It's obviously not to do with us. Yeah, if you join the stream late, don't worry, when I press end stream, you can watch the stream back at your leisure in full. And of course, I will be putting the podcast up in all the usual places within the next hour or so. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening. A big shout out to Nathan. A big shout out to Chris for coming on the stream. Apologies for my internet today. We will try and sort it and get it better for the next time. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.